we step out, back fist, palm, thrust punch. Remember, round corners. I hook, and I punch underneath. I'm going to come around. Now that should cave him in nicely. Just make sure you want your timing right on this. So catch him here. This comes around and hits. Double back fists, in with the palms, out with the claw, iron thumbs to the eyes. A raking knuckle. And we strike across. We have a technique where we step in and punch and then back punch. Hit. I come around with my hammer. Now I can chop here before I chop here.
What was it?
Oh, we're going to do a warm-up, yeah. Any requests, though, before we get started? Yep.
Kicks.
Kicks. Probably not. We might do a couple of chin-on techniques. The reason I say no for kicks, tonight's class is going to focus mostly on hands. We're going to work on a Kempo set. It's called the floating hands of Kung Fu. It's going to accentuate flowing while striking. And we're going to go through the set. It's only 21 moves. We're going to go through it piece by piece. We'll do the first 7 moves, let you practice that a little bit, give you the next 7 moves. And the goal, this is basically a hand kata, a stationary striking set, that if you practice it, it will help you to develop your speed and your techniques. And then we're going to segue from that into a couple of our self-defense techniques and look at a couple of things from the set that we can adapt to the techniques, and then continue on in that nature on looking how we can adapt various techniques to make them flow a little bit more. Certain techniques are just designed for speed, so that's going to be the main emphasis of the class. With that said, let's get started. We're going to do a warm-up, and then we'll move right into the striking set tonight. All right, I think you guys are sufficiently warmed up. Let's get into the striking set I was talking about. It's like a mini kata. I think you're really going to enjoy this. It's going to help you develop fast, flowing hand strikes. It's going to teach you how to flow through your striking. Certain techniques are just designed for speed, and this is what this set is going to help you develop in your techniques. And we'll go through the set, and we'll start picking pieces apart and see how we can adapt some of the lessons into our techniques. Let's get started. So we're going to start off with the feet together. Like I said, it's like a kata. We're going to bow. We're going to step out, back fist, and then palm. You could even open this up. It could be an eye hook. Think of it as a pattern that you can adapt as you need to. But this is almost like our palm block. We're just expanding it out. Thrust punch, prosciutto, prosciutto. And I like to imagine like I'm hitting under the nose and chopping at a slight upward angle when I do it. You can drive straight into the throat. It's up to you. This interpretation that you can apply not only to your techniques but to your forms as well. Let's start again. We're just going to break down. We're going to go through the first 7 moves. So we bow. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have prosciutto. 5, prosciutto. Driving shuto to the collarbone. Driving shuto to the collarbone. That's the first 7. Let's look at it again. Bow. Step out. 1, 2. Look at my thrust punch. From the back fist to the thrust punch. It's not back fist thrust punch. There's going to be a lot of rounding corners in this set. That's a key ingredient to speed in your techniques, conserving energy. Let's start again. You bow, 1, and now round the corner into the thrust punch. Chop, chop, and then driving shuto, driving shuto. Bow. See how that flows. Right around. And cross shuto, driving shuto, driving shuto. I'm going to let you work on this part of the sequence of the set, and as you get it ingrained, you can try to speed it up a little. Start slow, and as you go through, see if you can start making it flow, so that this becomes just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I counted wrong somewhere, but it's 7 movements. Try to make them flow. Go ahead. Good. Let's review what we went over. Start off with our bow. We step out, back fist, palm, thrust punch. Remember, round corners. Now this is just back and forth. That can be very fast. Remember, when I'm withdrawing one hand, why not strike with the other hand. That certainly is a good use of your time. So there's some of that in this set, and there's going to be a lot of rounding corners. Bow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we're going to come overhead and down. So this is like a dropping palm, an overhead palm. We're going to come over and down, and then we're going to reverse motion. So we're moving on vertical circles here. We're going to reverse that, and we're going to come up with like a chicken wrist block. In this case, it could be a rising chicken wrist under the jaw. Come up with another chicken wrist. Look at what's happening with this hand, with my right hand, as I come up with the other chicken wrist. It's going to round the corner into a back punch, and as I punch, look how this hand's rounding the corner into a palm to the ribs. So let's look at that. Let's see what we have. Bow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're going to stop there because the next two moves are linked together. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the set coming up. But let's stop there, work on that a little bit. I'll do it with you a couple more times, and I'm going to let you practice it and see if you can get it to work, get it to start flowing. Bow, back fist, palm, thrust punch. Notice a basic combination here, one of your very basic combinations in the beginning of the set. Double shoot those, come overhead, reverse action, back punch, and palm. Again, bow, lots of repetition to get this down. Punch, chop, chop, driving shudo, driving shudo. Overhead, overhead, come up, up, back punch, palm. Now let's start seeing if we can flow a little bit. Bow. Good, you guys are keeping up. I'm impressed. Bow. I'll let you work on it. Practice that. I'll give you the next piece in a couple minutes. She learned this earlier in the week. I've seen her practicing it all week, every chance she gets. Do it again. So we got the first 7 moves are down. You have those. And then we just got to work on that next section. You'll get it. Takes practice. Okay, I think you guys are ready to move on. Let's go over the next piece of the sequence. And this is these double back fists that we're going to do. It's one of my favorite parts of the set, because a lot of times we think of doing a double strike simultaneously, whether it's a double chop or a double back fist in this case. But we're going to have them, they're going to be offset. So it's going to be 1, 2. Let's start from the beginning, and then we'll go through it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Bow, back fist, palm, thrust punch, chop, chop, and driving shudo, overhead, reverse. And then from here, we're going to hit 1, 2. So we're going to go double back fist. And we're going to look at a technique and use that in one of our techniques later. Again, let's work that piece. Then I'll give you a little bit more. Bow. I'm just going to slow down here. So double back fist. Come in with double palms. Now you're going to see another technique that you have, another Kempo technique. We're going to rake. And we're going to do an iron thumbs to the eyes. We're almost at the end of the set now. We only have a few moves left. Not a long set. 21 moves. Practice it for speed. And that's certainly what it's going to help you develop. Again, bow. Come back in, come out, iron thumbs. Again, try to do it medium speed and see if you can flow through the whole thing. See if you can do it without having little parts where you're stopping. Now the movements I just showed you, you're probably going to have to think through those, but see if you can get through the other moves without any sudden pauses. Let's do it again. Out. Come back in, claw, drive the thumbs into the eyes. And I'll do it with you one more time. We'll do it a little bit faster. We'll see. Try to do it at the speed that you're comfortable with. Some of you have a little more experience with this than others. But we'll do it a little bit faster, and I'm going to let you work on that. And then we're gonna finish up the set. Like I said, there's only a couple movements left, and then you'll have it. You'll have the whole set tonight. Begin, bow. Okay, take it up to there, practice it, and let's see what you guys can do. Nice. Let's go through it again before we move on. We start with our bow, we step out. Back fist and palm, round the corner into that thrust punch. Then it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, back and forth. Notice also how my other hand is on orbit. I don't go 1, 2. My other hand's on orbit around. I stop and I reverse action. And again, you'll notice that both hands are working together, rounding the corner into my back punch or uppercut, rounding the corner into my palm to the ribs. I'm chambered for my back fist. These are not simultaneous. It's 1, 2. It's ba-ba. 1, 2. Come back in, come back out, iron thumbs to the eyes. Remember, you're driving your palm in with that strike. It's not just a thumb to the eyes, the palm's involved as well. Let's go through it again. Lots of repetition required to get this down. Bow. A few more repetitions and I'll give you the finishing moves. I know you're dying to learn them. I won't keep you waiting too much longer. Good. You're getting it. You're coming along. Good. Don't you feel like you're swimming when you're doing these? Very nice. Good, I like it. All right, let's finish it up. I know you guys can't wait to get this done with, so you have the whole set. Let's do it. Starting from the beginning. This. All right, now we're coming up to a more recent part, double back fists, double palms, rake, iron thumbs. Now we're going to come back and catch them with palms. It's a minor strike on the way back as we chamber for double palms to the ribs, snake bite to the eyes. And now we're going to, this is our closing. This is our bow. We're going to roll the hand so it's like a figure 8 and then step in and bow. Let's look at it again. Let's take it from our double back fists because I know you guys have up to there. So it's double back fists, in with the palms, out with the claw, iron thumbs to the eyes. The palms come back, striking the base of the skull is a minor move. Palms to the ribs, snake bite, roll the hands, and bow. Now let's put it together. Bow. Okay. There you go. Practice that. That's the set. Looks good. Looks like you guys are getting it. Now if you practice it, say do this 3 times a week. If you're really working for speed, you don't want to do intense speed training every day of the week. You need to give your muscles time to recuperate. But if you do it 3 times a week, 2 times a week, and you do it consistently, you'll start developing speed. Let's do it one more time together to finish up, and we'll do it at the speed you're comfortable with. I'm going to go a little bit faster, so don't try to keep up with me if you can't. But don't go too slow. Try to push yourself a little bit, not too far. Let's begin. All right, let's take a couple minute break, let you guys get a drink. You've been working hard tonight. Then we're going to come back and we're going to explore some of our techniques. You guys enjoy the set? Here's my advice. Work on it. Develop form first. It is about developing speed, but you need to take the time to make sure you have the movements down. You guys were looking pretty good tonight. I think you're pretty familiar with those movements, but you want to make sure you have the sequence neurologically programmed, then start developing speed. And you can even have somebody time you while you do it. You want to see how quickly you can do that. Some forms that we do transition so that there's tension movements and then fast movements. This is a sequence about developing speed. I can't emphasize that enough. That's what it's all about. So use it for that. All right, let's look at now a technique that we have. We'll start with the technique and then we're going to see how we can inject a lesson from this set into that technique. It's a technique I'm sure you're pretty familiar with. Justin, come out here. So two-hand lapel grab. Now as he grabs me, he's going to be pulling me in. Go ahead, pull forward. So I'm going to go with that energy as he pulls me in. This hand's going to hook. Now it's an eye hook in the technique, the way we practice it. Remember, if it's just somebody that's grabbing you, it depends on the circumstance. Depends on what you're dealing with. You might just want to do a palm strike. You might just want to slap him. What this is it's a little bit of misdirection. So as he pulls me in, I have him looking up here while this hand is sneaking in and striking him down below. You can use a thrust punch or you can even use an uppercut into the solar plexus. So that's the beginning of the technique. He grabs a hold of me, I'm going to hook, and I'm going to strike. Now don't let go yet. The technique's designed, now he should. If he doesn't see that coming, this is going to be one heck of a hit. And that should take some steam out of him. He should have the wind's knocked out of him. That should be it. He should let go. That could be your finishing move, actually. But we're going to assume, we want to be prepared. We want to overskill you. What if he doesn't let go? I hook, and I punch underneath. I'm going to come around. Now that should cave him in nicely so that I can come around and I can hammer and clear the arms, chop into the throat. Now there is a finishing move. I'm not going to worry about that tonight because that's not what we're going to look at. We're going to play with an insert that we could add to the technique. Part of the formulation process we've been working on a lot lately. So he pulls me in. Boom. Don't let go. I know, he just knows this is a bad shot. He knows he doesn't want to hold on. So he's pulling me in. I hook or slap, and I catch him here. I come around now. I round the corner. It's all part of developing speed from here to here. Except this, I would expand out and hit him. And then I come back with a prosciutto to the throat. Why don't we do it once or twice together before I have you partner up? Let's face the mirrors. As you're being grabbed, the person's grabbing you, they're pulling you in. So you're going to step with it. This hand hooks as this hand comes in and punches. So we hook and punch. From here, use your hips to drive this action. Hammer the head and come down and clear the arms. Chop into the throat. Let's put that together now. Again, this is another... You'll see how this all fits together because this technique is a technique that's tailored for, it's just perfectly designed for fast striking. You're rounding corners, and when we add an insert, I think you're really going to like it. Let's do it a little smoother. So hook, punch, strike, and chop. And medium the full speed now. And there's your technique. Okay. Let Justin come back out. He grabs a hold of me. As he pulls, whoa, I'm stepping in. I hit. This comes across and hits. Look what I could add. And actually, if you're a black belt, I know you've been starting to acquaint yourself with some of the movements of the Shaolin crane. A lot of shaking of the hips. That's where a lot of power comes from. This is tailor-made for adding that component to the technique, adding a little bit of Shaolin crane. But we're going to insert a shuto. So it's going to be like our offset back fist strike that's in the middle of the floating hand set. So I hit, I come around with my hammer. Now I can chop here before I chop here. Try it. Just make sure you want your timing right on this. So I catch him here. This comes around and hits. Boom. As this is hitting, I'll slow this down. As this is hitting, that's when this hand can chop to the side of the neck. Now that can be a knockout blow right there. So that hits, and now look at how my hips wound up. I'm gonna get a little bit of counterbalance in as I come back with the chop. So my hips should always be rotating, and if you understand how to use some whipping, some shaking action in your technique, which is a lesson of the crane, you can play around with that as well. It makes this a really nice crane technique, and you should realize it's nothing more than our offset back fists that we have in our striking set. We don't see that often. I want to show you how, or use this as an example of how you can do it. You have another technique as well, another lapel grab defense that you have, that you could add this same insert into. I'm not going to tell you what it is. When you go back with your partners, you see if you can figure out what it is. It's not that hard to figure out. You should already know the answer, but see how you can play with that technique and insert it within the sequence as well. Look at it. I'm going to show it to you one last time, let you practice that, and then we're going to look at one last combination and how we can adapt that. And then that's going to wrap up class for tonight. So we step in, boom, I hit here. This is going to hit, and I want it to be from here. I want 1, 2. So this hits, and this hits. See? I hit with this hand, I strike across, my hips are turning this way. At that point, I'm going to drop back, and then this actually creates an opportunity for me to track right into my next strike, which is another nice little bonus about that insert. So I hit, this comes across, 1, 2, 3. And if you want to insert the ending, you can go ahead and do that as well. Let's finish up looking at another combination that you're well familiar with, one we always go back to. Throw a straight punch. We have a technique where we step in and punch and then back punch. One of the lessons of the set is rounding corners. So let's use the formulation process. Let's change the technique a little bit into another variation of the same technique. We're going to go from 3 combination in Kempo to 44 combination. So what I'm going to do, instead of throwing this punch and checking down and punching over, I'm going to round the corner. Where this action ends, I'm going to round the corner, and my hands are going to pass each other. So now my striking hand takes over checking. Instead of maintaining a check here, it's going to take over checking this way. Okay? It's going to ride up the arm. I'm going to punch here. That's going to allow this hand to draw back for my back punch. And then if you want to finish with a takedown, we're going to come over. I'm going to hook the leg here, and I'm going to drive him back. And that's where I finish the technique. Let's look at the movements. Pay attention to the rounding of the corner. That's your lesson for developing speed. It's a fast flurry of strikes. He throws his punch. I catch him here, and this just rolls. I take some steam out of him with that first punch. I could break the ribs. I roll up. This becomes more of a minor move in this variation of the technique. It maintains a check. I'm not going to have as much power with that punch, but that's allowing me to draw back in chamber and catch him with a back punch. Then we can finish with our takedown. I'll spare him. I took him down once already. Punch. So it's here. It's 1 and then 2 and then 3. I'll slow it down. 1. Keep that check at or above the elbow. For this hand to chamber, to get ready to back punch, this hand's going to take over checking. You're not going to thump his arm like I'm doing. I'm just trying to let you see that there is a check in place. It should just ride right up the arm into the temple. But there is that check there if I need it. Here, here, and then punch the kidney and take down. So this is a variation of 3. What if we use Gathering Clouds, one of your advanced combinations, where we strike we use a raking knuckle, and we strike across, and we come back into the kidney. Let's turn that around for you. Punch. So I strike here, and I come back with a chop. That could be a back fist. What if we reformulate that? We alter the target. Doesn't that now become a variation of 3 combination? So when he punches, this hits, and then this can roll. Just wanted to slow it down so you can see it. This hits, I still have my check, and this rolls around. 1, 2. Just another version of the same technique. This is a very powerful combination for you. Explore it and look at the many ways that you can reformulate and arrive at it. And then from there, so I catch him here. 1, I keep catching his gi. 1, 2, if you want, I could just move in and we have our takedown again. Try that and then we're done.